One thing that plays a significant role in shrinking down man's consciousness is fear. Fear is prevalent in every human being's life, and it is that which makes us function in so many ways. The fear of being poor, the fear of not having something to eat is a major factor that makes us work, that allows us to act in the world. And there are multiple fears that grips human beings' mind, from the biggest fear to the smallest fear. Each one of our fears makes us small, distorted within. The fear of death, or it can be the fear of what will others think about me, the fear of failing, to the fear of not living up to a certain expectation, the fear of not becoming something, or the fear of losing something. All of these fears dominate our mind and make us act in unoriginal ways, in ways that are distorted, that are false and harmful for our own self. Psychological fear is something that can totally arrest our being and not allow us to just simply be. Fear grips the mind and makes us function in life according to it. And so then it becomes important for us to pay attention that what are these multiple types of fears that plagues our mind, that rule our consciousness. How do we allow fear to take control of our life, and is it possible to completely rid ourselves of this fear, to completely let go and somehow not allow it to interfere in our life? Is that possible? Psychological fear cannot be simply ignored and dealt with later, because it is prevalent and ever present in our life. It is our fear only that makes us function or motivates us, drives us to live our life in the way we live it. And so, the very way that we live our life, if that is dictated by fear, if that is organized by fear, are we really even living? Is there any truth to our in our daily life, or the way we live, the quality of our life is simply the product of the psychological fear that is deeply ingrained in our being? Without understanding why do we fear and how does this fear comes about and spreads itself completely in our life, we cannot just go on to simply live a complete life. Our daily living would be is affected in ways by fear that we do not even know. What we think is standard or pretty normal, that normalcy can simply be a function of fear. Our relations that we form can be a fear of loneliness, and because we do not want to stay lonely by our own self, we may just find ourselves compulsively relating to the other, just because this fear of loneliness hasn't been understood, hasn't been gone into. There has been no inquiry into this fear of loneliness. And what will happen if we were to be by ourselves, if we were to be alone, without inquiring the reality, without going into the facts and understanding how our mind functions, we will find that the fears are what dominating our daily life, and it is really not us who is living, it is our fears which manifest themselves in our lives and express themselves in various forms. Each of our fear is essentially the fear of losing, of ending. All of our physical fears are simply related to the fear of death, and that is normal, that is sane. One would not want to just die without any reason. And so, whenever we see something fearful approaching us, the body reacts, and this is the body's response to a physical fear. When we touch something hot, we immediately retract because it is the fear of body getting harmed, and that is how we avoid these multiple physical fears that threaten the existence of the body, that can prove to be a harm to the body. And while they are necessary for one's physical sustenance, we find this same tendency to preserve, to protect the body spreads itself in our psyche, in our mind. And psychologically also we'll find that we begin to preserve, to protect, to safeguard ourselves, and all our efforts in life we will find are to simply ensure, to simply secure ourselves psychologically. And when we have seen that, we actually have to question that is all of this protection, safeguarding, this psychological fear, this presence of psychological fear is even necessary, and how does this fear leads us to living an artificial life? How does it arrest our life? How does it makes our life narrow, limited, and places foundations on it? And it is because of these foundations that we are never really able to live life completely in its fullness. We will find that the richness of life escapes us, and all we have in our life is narrowness, pittiness, pettiness, a shallow sense of pride and happiness. There is nothing really concrete or substantial that exists in our daily life, because fear completely dominates and takes over our psyche, our mind. And so without questioning, without challenging this fear, without going into that how and why do we protect and continuously preserve ourselves, we might not be able to come in contact with the life's fullness. We really have to look at fear, that why do we worry, that why are we scared of losing something? Because since each fear is, at the heart of every fear is a loss. It fears losing something. It fears losing its body, it fears losing its prestige, it fears losing its sanity, it fears losing its comfort, it fears losing its peace. And so we have to inquire that all of these multiple fears, which are essentially one fear, and that is the fear of losing, that is the fear of ending, that if what we fear is really worth being fearful is ending, is losing something really what we fear, or these multiple things that we fear to lose, we actually inwardly depend on them, and it is our dependency that generates this fear, that gives rise to fear within us. And wherever there is this psychological dependency on my relationships, on my respect that I have gained in society, on my on upon losing the possessions that I have earned in life, whenever I depend on these things, I will find that automatically in that equation fear comes along. To possess something, to depend upon something is what gives root to fear. Fear is already involved in this equation of dependency, of possession, of acquiring, of collecting. Because I depend, because I hold on to and I cling to all of these multiple things that are actually a psychological support to me, I will find that losing them makes me full of fear, that I shake even at the idea of losing my respect, of losing a certain reputation that I hold in society, that I hold in the eyes of other people. I will find, because I depend on this reputation, that I will not act in ways that would do anything to harm this reputation, and that not acting and that acting according to a certain code, according to a conduct, according to a specific set of rules that will pander and add to my reputation, I will be bounded by them. I am actually dictated by this code that I follow, which helps me to possess the reputation that I have. And so essentially, I identify with this reputation. I identify with my relationships, because my identity, my very existence is based upon these possessions, these relationships, this reputation that I have earned in life. And losing them actually means losing myself, ending myself. My end, whether physical or psychological, is what I actually fear. Ending of the physical body, the fear of ending of the physical body is natural, but the fear of ending of this psychological entity that we think we are, that we have created and contributed to bit by bit by how we live, the fear of ending this psychological entity makes us squirm and shiver, because all of our life is based on the existence of this psychological entity. And upon careful observation, we will find that this psychological identity that we have come to depend upon, which further depends upon its relationships, its possessions, its reputation, all of it is just a fragment of our projections, of our imagination. That we have contributed to or helped to come in existence. When we look closely, we will find that there is no real requirement, there is no actual need to hold on to any psychological sense of being. And it is the loss of this psychological being that what we actually fear. All fear stems from loss. The psychological fear is stemming from the loss of ourself. We fear our own end. We fear losing our own self. And then we will have to really see that what happens if we actually lose ourselves, or the idea that who we are. If we lose that idea, we'll have to inquire and really see that what actually goes on when we do lose ourselves, when we really end this psychological entity that we so strongly relate to and identify with. This deep blind belief within us, which does not allow us to end our psychological sense of self. This belief, this deep blind belief strengthens our fear. It feeds our fear. And the fear then again feeds this fictional psychological entity. And it is this two-way feeding mechanism that persists in our life. Our fear feeds our sense of self. Our sense of self strengthens our fear. And we will find that this complete cycle is actually an illusion. We are really fearing the end of something which is not really there, and its non-existence has to be closely looked at, because without inquiring, without observing how dependency, clinging on, possession, how all of these things play with each other in order to sustain this psychological self, and in turn sustaining the fear that we have within. if we were to really lose the one who is fearing, we will find that fear is also lost. Fear is to someone, it is who we are fearful. It is who we are who is fearful. And if we see how we stick ourselves to fear, how this interaction between us and fear comes along, then we will find that all fear ceases to be, because the one who is fearful has ceased to be. Because that which is really our own, we cannot lose it. So the dependence that generates from the loss of our possession is out of the question. What is ours cannot be really taken away. Whatever we fear that we lose, all of it is just a support system upon which we rely for our existence. And if we really look at our life, we will find that this support system is redundant. It is not required. That we can really live from within. And who can really take us away from us? What we really have to lose is our tendency to protect, to safeguard, to depend, to possess. It is the loss of these worst tendencies that are within us is how we will really find ourselves. What we really have to lose is this sense of self which tries to hold on to and cling and possess all of these support systems which helps it survive, which sustains it. And we have to see the reality of it. That how this sense of self really comes about. And as soon as we have given birth to this, how it yearns to possess, how it seeks support, how it warrants a dependence on its surroundings, because in itself it is nothing. This sense of self that we falsely believe in, within itself it is a empty identity. Within itself there is no core, there is no substance. It is a complete fluff, and it is this fluff that attaches itself to the things of its environment, to what it finds in its surroundings, and that becomes our relationships. This fluff attaches itself to the object that it thinks has some worth, and through that it demands reputation. This fluff attaches itself with things around it, and that it begins to call its possessions. This fluff in itself is really nothing. All it has is its own past, its memories, the relationships that it forms, its own thoughts, its own ideologies that it has actually borrowed from its own surroundings. This fluff of me is illusory, and it is this fluff that has all the fear. It is this fluff that worries about losing its existence. And when we really comprehend for ourselves the truth of this, we will find that all psychological fear cease to exist. That how unnecessary it is to carry these multiple fears that we carry within ourselves. The fear of loneliness, the fear of being left behind, the fear of not able to grab an opportunity, the fear of failure, the fear of not excelling in something, the fear of not being someone, not being the respected one, the fear of losing our own reputation, our own respect, that the other has of us. All of these fears we will find are really unnecessary, that all they have to survive on is our own deep-seated ideas, images, beliefs, notions. It is this set of images, ideas that our fear really sustains on. And so it becomes our responsibility to check the belief system that we carry within, the framework of thought and ideas that we think are true, that we have come to believe are the facts of life. What we think is the fact of life has to be gone into and inquired, because one doesn't have to think about the fact is simply is. Whenever we think that this is the fact of life, that this is the reality of life, that this what life actually is, all of this thinking is redundant, because to come in contact with reality we have to just simply be in its contact and to see how, and for that to happen we have to understand how our mind functions, how it simply projects its own ideas as thoughts, as a reality that we come to believe in. All our dreams are nothing but simply a sum, a formation of our own images, experience and memory that sits within our mind. And it is this mix of memories, experiences, ideas and beliefs that form our dreams and to which we ascribe a reality, and we begin to think that what we have dreamt of is real. It is that same process which takes place in our life. Our own experiences, memories, the past that we have just reacts within itself and forms a narrative, forms a story that we understand as reality, that we begin to believe. The reality which we think of as real is nothing but a reaction, a projection that arises from our own mind. And the mind has this whole repository of memory, of past, of ideas, of images that it dips into and presents us with an ideology. And that ideology becomes our reality. And then losing that ideology gives rise to fear within us. So this complete equation we will find is just a cause and effect, a simple, a long series of cause and effect taking place, and nothing more than that. One thing reacts to another and becomes something, and that reacts to something else, then again becomes something. Reality cannot be a function of cause and effect. One has to inquire into the functioning of our own mind to understand how we simply conjure up a narrative and begin to call it a reality. And fear then becomes the common thread which sustains, which provides nutrition to this make believe that is the result of how our mind functions. If what we really fear is ending, we have to really see, we have to let the things which we fear will end to really end them. We have to find what really happens when we lose what we fear losing. We have to see what occurs when that which we do not want to end ends. Already having a predetermined mind that has its own conclusions will never allow us to lose, to end. Seeing how unnecessary our possession is, seeing how unnecessary what we are helping live in our mind will make us end it, lose it. To end fear, we really have to end ourselves psychologically, and without this ending, the fear will pervade our mind. The fear will dictate our daily life. The fear will be prevalent in our relationships, in our relationships to the thing outside. The fear will be prevalent in our behavior, in our actions. All our life will simply become a mere expression of this deep seated fear that we have within. We have to end that entity which is fearful. Because when that which is fearful ends, the fear disappears.